All right, welcome to the ongoing adventures of Dare 3 Whiskey Bravo. Checking in what I suspect will be a minute or two early today. I think we're just about to get our descent instructions. Flying from Biloxi, actually Gulfport International, KGPT, Kilo Golf Papa Tango, to Orlando Executives, Kilo Oscar Romeo Lima. An hour and a half flight, if memory serves. Sounds about right. Maybe an hour and 45 minutes. Probably more like an hour and 45 minutes. Wheels up, wheels down. Beautiful day. Arriving today via the Mini 5 arrival to runway 25. ILS runway 25. I got a kick out of all the various arrival approaches to Orlando. All seem to be named after Disney themed names, which was kind of funny and not surprising given that we're going into Orlando. I expect we're going to hear from ATC any moment here, but I've been finding myself so busy on some of my previous videos dealing with the airplane that sometimes I can't talk enough, or sometimes I talk too much and I don't deal with the airplane. So that's why I thought I'd check in a little early and start setting up for our arrival. Go ahead and enter the radio frequencies that we need. Navcom, audio and radios. Nav 1 is the ILS frequency for runway 25, which is 109.35. 109.35. We'll activate that. Nav 2 is the VOR frequency for the same airport. The VOR does happen to be at the airport. And that frequency is 112.2. We'll activate that. Go over to our PFD. PFD settings, bearing 1, no data as expected. Bearing 2, showing us 108.9 nautical miles from ORL, or Oscar Romeo Lima. That is the VOR frequency that happens to be at the airport. So that's been set up. Now we'll go and set our minimums. Perfect day like this is not going to be an issue, but we'll set it anyway. Barometric minimums at Orlando are, with my understanding based on this type of airplane, 480 feet above sea level. Enter that. And a few other things to keep in mind. The runway length is 6,004 feet. Missed approach involves us climbing to 2,000 feet. We'll try to remember to set that once we're established on final. In the event we need to do a missed approach. Flying over the west coast of Florida. Really beautifully depicted. Never been to Florida, except in the sim. Interesting weather. Definitely can have some interesting challenges on the weather. Flying right now from the Sykes intersection. If you look right here, SYKES. Our next waypoint is Gummy, Gummy. We're 4 minutes from Gummy, 3 minutes 58 seconds, 60 nautical miles away. See another aircraft out here about our 10 o'clock. See if we can spot him. Down to 230, David Whiskey Bravo.
Descend and maintain flight level 230.
So as I expected, we got our descent instructions roughly a couple minutes, I guess about 4 minutes after we started our video. We'll throttle back here a little bit. Got a little tailwind following us now that we've made our left turn. 20 knot tailwind. The high altitude views of the terrain textures are really incredible. Really something else. That is St. Petersburg, Florida down there. Looking entirely, in my judgment, entirely realistic. Airport right there. KMCF. If I'm looking at my information correctly. Might also be SPG St. Yeah, actually, I'm gonna guess that's St. Petersburg. Let me zoom in here on my ForeFlight app. Yeah, that looks like. No, I stand corrected. That is not St. Petersburg Airport. Might be MacDill Air Force Base. It's amazing how difficult it can be to establish the identity of things from this altitude. Oh, I got it. Here it is. Pete Clearwater International, KPIE, excuse me, Kilo Papa India Echo. Anyway, I think this is what I meant when I said I do so much sightseeing on these approaches, especially over in daytime, over interesting geographical areas, and so forth. Press the V key. I always have PTSD now that I'm going to crash the sim, but we're not, happily. There's Gummy. That's where we're headed. We are now showing 79 seconds from Gummy. After Gummy is Lal. Now that says KLAL, which is the airport associated with the VOR of the same name. The waypoint that's actually entered into our flight plan is not the airport, but the VOR. LAL is Lakeland Linder International, which is Lakeland, Florida, obviously, which happens to be on the approach to our airport in Orlando. Okay. A lot more aircraft traffic in the area. Let's see. Let's just count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 airplanes just within 35 nautical miles of our current position. Local time is 6:43 p.m., 1843 hours. UTC 2243, and local time here at my house is 3:43, 1543 hours. As you recall, they cleared us down to 23,000, and we're descending at 1,200 feet per minute. We'll increase that descent rate a little, 1,400 feet per minute. Showing us 17 minutes from our destination at our current speed, probably more like 20. Somebody do the math. I show on our UTC, which is only the official clock, it's 22:44. So we'll see if this is about 23:04 at touchdown. Just sort of ballparking it there, but that's my estimate. No need to do our final approach checklist yet, which I've appropriated from other internet sources as GIFLY: gear, inertial separator, flaps, fuel, lights, and yaw damper. There's another airport down there you can see. That's Tampa, by the way. I didn't so indicate. That's Tampa. Weather's beautiful on this fall evening. Really pretty out. I really enjoy daytime flights, especially in a sim like this. It's just so faithful to scenery. But all things considered, I find it to be astonishingly high quality. 5, dear. Just have a good day. Now we'll go over to Miami Center.
Flight to 134.55, Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Miami Center, this is Dale 3 Whiskey Bravo with you, flight level 243, flight level
Miami
230.
Center, Docker November 34 Tree Whiskey Bravo is out of flight level 245 for flight level 230.
Now they'll respond. Tell us to proceed as planned. Here they said continue to Lima Alpha Lima. That's LOL, as I said earlier. Right here. LOL. That's the airport. That's the radio transmitter. But anyway, my just my work schedule or whatever. Sometimes I can't start a flight until late in the afternoon here in Southern California, my time, and because I only fly in real time. I'm to 11,000, dear Bruce Bravo.
Descend and maintain 11,000 feet, Docker Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Okay, so we'll keep our descent going to 11,000 feet. Make sure we engage it. I made this mistake a couple times where I use the altitude selector to set the altitude, but then I don't actually initiate the descent towards that altitude. That's not, wouldn't want to, what that inevitably leads to is you being told to expedite your descent. Anyway, I always fly in real time, and if I'm in the Pacific or Mountain time zones, or Alaska, -1 or -2 hours Pacific Daylight Time, that's not a big deal. But the farther I get from home, the more my start time dictates what kind of conditions I'll be flying in. And indeed, even the realism, potentially, of that sim flight. For example, I couldn't start a flight in my time zone at 10 o'clock at night and then take off from an airport in Florida that has time restrictions. Many airports, including my home airport, KSNA, Kilo Sierra November Alpha, have time restrictions. No operations after 2300. So anyway, my point in saying all that is just that if I can get a flight in when I'm on East Coast time that allows me to still see the ground in daylight, I like that if I can, but I adhere to real-time flights and real-time weather. And so my last several flights have been at night, even though it wasn't night where I was here in SoCal. But it looks like we're going to have the opportunity to land in Orlando in just a beautiful evening. Really, I mean, just beautiful. There's Lakeland. Noticing a little bit of stuttering here. I don't know, every time you have to understand, anybody who's played this game, flown this sim, whatever you want to call it, and had it crash, knows that the crash is often preceded by very brief pause, not unlike a stutter. So if I get a little bit of a stutter that seems too long, I'm convinced that it's about to crash to desktop. I was about to say that I haven't had any crash to desktop since the latest patch 2 days ago, but then I realized how stupid it would be for me to say that. Look at the fingerprints. That's awesome. It's that kind of little touches that make this game so special. Again, the VOR showing us now 43 nautical miles, 12 minutes from the airport. Our actual distance to destination is 61 miles, according to our route, but our distance just to the actual radio transmitter, I'll show you what I mean. By the way, there's Minnie. There's Minnie. Anyway, if we were to fly straight to the airport, like this, it would take us 40 miles and 82 seconds. But as it happens, we actually are 58 miles for obvious reasons. We're not going straight there. We're going this way, and this is our approach into runway 25, excuse me. Okay, our nearest altimeter on ForeFlight is being listed as 29903. So we'll do our usual adjustment of the altimeter to 29903. And then we'll press the B key and see how close that is. 29909er. So it happens occasionally. And keep in mind, the nearest altimeter doesn't mean that's the altimeter at the airport. Although in theory, you don't care what the altimeter at the airport is. You want the altimeter nearest to you when you're below 18,000 feet. Our next waypoint, Unity. Right there, and we are, as you can see, 19.6 nautical miles from Unity, specifically 3 minutes 54 seconds. So we need to descend to 11,000 feet. We're at 16,000 feet. We're descending at 1,400 feet per minute. We know we're 4 minutes away, meaning we'll be at 11,000 feet far before Unity. I pulled up the approach plates, of course, as usual. You'll notice on this ENLOW right there, ENLOW. We need to be at 2,000 feet right here. 1,500 feet at Mary B, and 1,100 feet at Le Mans. So just keep that in mind. Expect to hear those numbers being told to descend 2,000 at some point. KMCO is Orlando International Airport. We're landing north of that at KORL, which is a general aviation airport. I just deemed it extremely unlikely that a general aviation aircraft would either choose to or B want to land at Orlando International. Take a screenshot real quick. Beautiful, beautiful. Wow. So anyway, I confirmed that Orlando Executive is a major general aviation airport for Orlando. We'll go ahead and set our heading bug at our approach course for this runway, which is 253. Why do that, you say? Well, I find it useful because by looking at your compass heading, you can see where the direction into which you'll be landing. So right now we're going this way. There's the heading bug. So we know we're going to really do a complete U-turn, which we've already confirmed. You see, we now are getting information from the ILS and the VOR. VOR 25.5. IEXO, India Echo X-Ray Oscar 24.9. Again, why are these numbers so close? Well, because they're both at the airport. I am happy to see something here specifically, and that is that I've noticed on some of my ILS approaches since the patch, I've been getting data from the ILS transmitter, but no DME info, no distance information. So I'm pleased to see that we are now getting not only information that it is receiving the ILS transmission, but also data regarding our distance from it. Now you will expect, and you should expect, to see these numbers continue to get lower and then start to grow again. Why? Well, because right now our airplane's going this way. Here's the airport. We're growing this way. As we get closer, the distance between us and the airport decreases. As we pass the airport, it will start to increase again until we make that U-turn to intercept ENLOW. These blue or scion, I should call them. Forgive me. The official word is scion. The scion colored arrows here are pointing in the direction of the radio frequencies that we are receiving. In other words, towards the airport.
Maintain 5,000 feet.
Down to 5,000 there, Whiskey Bravo.
Descend and maintain 5,000 feet. Tree Whiskey Bravo.
All right, so.
Tree Whiskey Bravo, you are 20 miles south. Descend and maintain 2,000 feet.
There it is.
ILS runway, 25 approach, via look transition. Clear to look.
All right, well, let's let her respond.
Descend and maintain 2,000 feet. Expect ILS runway 25 approach via look transition. Clear to look. Tree Whiskey Bravo.
I didn't. Cleared to what? I couldn't make it out. Let's check. Cleared to Luke.
Tree Whiskey
Oh.
Bravo, contact Orlando approach on 119.4.
This is very interesting. You see, we were cleared to Luke.
119.4
See that?
Tree Whiskey Bravo.
L-O-U-K-E. I looked at the approach plates, and Luke is the initial approach fix for the ILS approach to runway 25. L-O-U-K-E. What's interesting is that Luke was not part of the IFR setup page. My God, look at that sunset. Another screenshot. So this is all inside baseball for anybody but major sim nerds. But that Luke that they keep referring us to is the initial approach fix, the IAF. In other words, the spot over which you would begin your final approach. But it simply wasn't listed in the setup page. So in reality, Luke is probably right around here. This might be an interesting opportunity for us to try something. Flight plan. For Enlo, insert before Enlo. L-O-U-K-E. Enter. Alright, now let's check something. Look at that, it worked! I can't believe it worked! Now, the only other problem, though, is that we're making a very steep turn here, and I'm not clear as to why. Why am I turning this aggressively towards the left? Alright, so what we're going to do, we're going to sink our heading bug. Don't panic. Okay? So it actually worked to insert Luke, L-O-U-K-E, into the flight plan. There it is. But why did it make that right turn? Alright, well, I'll tell you what I'm going to do. Just studying this. Interesting. Did it work or didn't it? Hey, this is proof that it's not always routine. I hate to give up. It's interesting. When I press nav, now it's turning left again. Let's just watch what happens, okay? You know, it pays to go outside your comfort zone in this game. It really does. I have to keep reminding myself I won't actually die by doing this stuff. So my question is right now, we added Luke. Luke. Sorry. We added Luke to our flight path. And I know it looks like it's taken us straight to Enlo. Let's see what happens here. This is an interesting experiment. Right now we appear to be doing a 360, which is not normal. So why don't we go ahead and sink our heading bug again. I don't mind doing this. This is interesting. I have learned a lot by trying trial and error on this game. The fact is, right now we're still aeronautically stable, so I'm not too concerned. Now it's showing that light back up again. That's interesting. Airspeed's fine. Everything's good. I am noticing that the heading, or the, you see this? It's for whatever reason, I think it thinks we have to turn around. Okay. Well, I've made changes like this to the FPL before that were successful, and I've done it before where it wasn't successful. This appears to be the latter. Enlo, Mary B, Lavon, and runway 25. It's funny, I added Luke, and yet now I'm not seeing Luke. Okay. Well, alright. Well, anyway, it's not going to be a big deal because we're going to switch over to the ILS here in a minute. Shallow water descent. We know we don't have to be at 2,000 feet until Enlo. So I'm just going to, since I've taken over navigation at this point, I'm just going to fly direct to Enlo. They told me to fly direct to Luke, but I'm just going to fly direct to Enlo right now. Beautiful evening, if nothing else. Yeah, I'm a little unclear as to what the issue was. That I added the waypoint that we were told to fly to into the flight plan just prior to the waypoint that we would have otherwise been heading to, and it did insert it. I mean, you can see it right there. And yet it didn't seem to want to fly to it, so there's bugs. There just are.
Whiskey Bravo, please expedite your descent to 2,000 feet.
There are still bugs, but right now it thinks that we're headed to Enlo, but oddly, this is very interesting. Why is it pointing to the west? I believe that for whatever reason it thinks that we need to return here in order to go here. That's my guess. That's my guess. Obviously, we do not need to return there, but we are not going to return there. We're at 3,600 feet right now, showing us 6 minutes. Oh, wait a minute. See, this is interesting. Look how this number is going up. 635, 636, 637. It wants us to go this way. And then the reason that that timer is going up is because we are flying away from it, meaning it would take that much more time to fly back to it. So that's what's going on. Okay, good. I've identified the problem. It is basically moot because we're going to switch off of this method of flight or navigation, this method of navigation, and we're going to switch over to nav 1. Now you'll see that we're on the ILS, or that at the very least we're not flying the ILS because right now I'm using the heading bug, but we're ready to switch over to it. And the way we will do that is we'll press nav or approach. Still basically flying the same approach. It's just had to deal with a little curveball there on the navigational screw up that I don't think was a fault of mine. So we're turning, as you can see, towards Enlo, coming down to 2,000 feet nicely. Start slowing down a little bit more. I've pre-programmed our turn to be like this, which will make it easier to make that final turn this way. Basically, to intercept that localizer at about 30 degrees. We know the approach course is 253. We know we're going 293 roughly right now, so we're You could stand to turn a little bit more to the left, but I'm going to stick with our current approach of 293. Should intercept
Air 3 Whiskey Bravo
Mary
descend and
B.
maintain 1,500 feet.
Again, 1,500 is the approach altitude at
Descend and maintain
Mary B,
1,500 feet.
according to the
Cover Whiskey
official
Bravo.
published FAA approach plates. Keep slowing down. We'll go ahead and activate our inertial separator at this point, just in case we meet a flock of birds. Inertial separator is basically a big filter. Even if I didn't have this, and even if it was completely cloudy and foggy out, we could use this to know when to start making that left turn to line up to 253 as this green line starts to move left, which it will. And if I do nothing, that green line will start to move left, and because we're on heading mode, we'll just fly right past the approach course. By pressing nav, which I'll just do now to illustrate my point, you'll see what happens. We'll start a right turn a little bit, very slight right turn, which is what its way of saying, I think I need to turn right just a tiny bit before I make that left turn intercepting. Put our gear down, start our final checklist, GIFLY, gear, inertial separators on, fuel, confirm, plenty, flaps, soon. Right now you see there's that green diamond. Go to do press approach.
Air 3 Whiskey Bravo, you are 8 miles east of executive. Contact
Landing gear
executive
and
tower
yaw damper, which will be activated at this
when
point.
inbound on the approach.
So we've got APR pressed. You should expect it to start making a left turn right here. See? You'll start to make a left turn
Executive Tower,
to
Delta
intercept.
November Tree 4 Tree Whiskey Bravo 8 miles east inbound ILS runway 25 approach.
We're intercepting at Mary B, just like I said, at 1,500 feet, almost. We're at 1,720. There's that left turn, as I told you.
Cleared
So,
ILS runway 25
this is good. This
approach, Delta
presented
Tree
an
Whiskey
unusual
Bravo.
or something new, a different challenge. We're going to keep an eye. There's that green diamond. It's almost at the first dot, so we'll do flaps 1 at that first dot. Boom. Reconfirm that our landing lights are on. I think I mentioned that, and didn't actually turn them on, so now they're on. And once that...
Whiskey Bravo, cleared to land runway 25.
Cleared to land,
Follow
runway
the
25.
aircraft on upwind. Wind calm.
Okay, so there's an aircraft on upwind. Now it's at the second dot. We'll do flaps.
Cleared to land runway 25. Delta Tree
Second
Whiskey
notch,
Bravo.
final notch of flaps, full flaps. Watch that airspeed. This thing really falls like a rock. If you're at idle, at flight idle, and you do full flaps, I mean, it's quite a slowdown. There, boom. See? Just intercepted the glide slope, just beautifully on schedule. That really went well. Airspeed's perfect, 86 knots. Showing us 3 minutes, 1 second from touchdown. Just trying to think what that time was. I said to Mark, I'm showing UTC of 2308, so 2308 was 2311. We'll check later just to see how close we are. There's the REILs. Keep an eye on that airspeed, 83 knots. You can see the white dots there. Green diamond there confirming that we are perfectly on the glide slope. 2 mile final. Things are looking really good. Those REILs, runway end identifier lights that you've got there. A little haze for sure. Coming up on our minimums. We're at 850 feet right now. Minimums are 480. I do have the REILs, and I see, there it is, white and red on the Vossi. Barely visible, though. And now they're gone again. Okay, yeah, they're coming back in. Just remember our minimums, though. 480. I do have the runway. There, 500 AGL. There's the runway. Minimums are 480. Looks like we're good. Yep, okay, we're good. I got the runway. All right, deactivating autopilot. I have the aircraft. It's looking good. Airspeed's good. No wind. No wind, which is always nice. Takes a little of the heat off. 84 knots. Full flaps.
Charter 3 Whiskey, Bravo, go around.
Going around. Gear up.
Landing gear. Landing gear.
Well, that's a first.
Landing gear.
Flaps retracted.
Going around Charter 3 Whiskey Bravo.
Well, that was a little excitement.
Charter 3 Whiskey, Bravo, contact Orlando approach on 119.4.
I've never been told to go around before. Holy
Going to
mackerel.
119.4 Charter 3 Whiskey Bravo.
I couldn't ignore him.
Orlando approach Docker November 3 Whiskey Bravo is missed approach at executive.
Oh my god. This is
Air
interesting.
3 Whiskey Bravo, climb and maintain 2,000 feet.
Remember how I told you the missed approach altitude was 2,000 feet? Alright, so, pull ourselves together.
Air 3 Whiskey Bravo, you are 1 mile southwest. Climb and maintain 2,800 feet. Expect ILS runway 25 approach via look transition. Clear to look.
So basically we're doing the same.
Climb and maintain 2,800 feet. Expect ILS runway 25 approach
Isn't
via look
this
transition clear to
interesting?
look Docker 3 Whiskey Bravo.
Okay, so they want us to do that. Approach again, so we will. Just trying to sync our heading, make our left turn. Oh, I know what's wrong. Oh, why isn't... Oh. I got it. I'm sorry, I was like, why isn't the heading bug responding? Is because I didn't have autopilot activated. On the upside, I was hand flying what appeared to be a pretty nice climb out to our missed approach altitude. Okay, so we're gonna fly left base on this, basically re-shoot that approach. I've never had that happen before. You know, listen, I know I'm supposed to only do a half-hour episode, but you were all here watching with me. What was I supposed to do? Just you know, land anyway after ATC tells me to do a go around? No, of course not. I would never do that. Anyway, a little slower than I want to be here. Okay, let's just reconfirm the state of our aircraft. Initial separator's okay. Let's bring our flaps fully in. That was my bad. I brought them out of takeoff, out of a landing position, but I left them in takeoff mode. But that's not entirely surprising. Climbing at 600 feet per minute to 2,800 feet, 130 knots. We'll make a left turn. Avoid flying over Orlando International. Really exciting. 073 is the opposite approach course for the runway that we were landing on. Approach course. Ooh, look at this guy. He's on final to Orlando International. We're above him, obviously. Anyway, we know the approach course is 253 for our airport's runway. So I'm turning now to a direction that will take us above that. Now, I don't know enough about this area, etc., to know whether I should have flown south of MCO or north of it, but we chose the latter. This is pretty intense, I'll be honest. I knew that if I landed after being told to go around, I'd be characterized properly as a total poser. Which I kind of am, I suppose, because what do I know about flying a Dare TBM, for Christ's sakes? But I don't know, it just seemed not right to land after you're told to go around. So we did the go around. I'm glad I said missed approach, climbed to 2,000 feet. At least I had an idea about what to do if that happened. There's more detailed information about handling missed approaches, but it's a little above my pay grade, to be honest. So I elected to just try to mimic the approach that we already did. My goodness. Holy mackerel, what a development. Anyway, I have switched our nav source back to nav 1. Initially, I switched this to FMS on our climb out because I thought that was somehow might explain the problems we were having with getting the autopilot to work, and then I realized what I was doing wrong. In any event, we're at nav 1 right now, so this information you're looking at right here, you see how this line is completely perpendicular to this line and our direction, 073? Well, that just means that we're doing exactly what I said we're doing. We're flying this way, the runway is to our left, and if we make that left turn, we'll intercept it like this, and you'll see this whole thing spin around.
Dare Tree Whiskey Bravo descend and maintain 2,000 feet.
So now they're basically having us do it all
Descend
again.
and maintain 2,000 feet. Dare Tree Whiskey Bravo.
Spirit Wings Tree 87.
This may sound
0
familiar to
northeast.
you. Descend to 2,000 feet and so forth. You can actually see right here. This is what we did before, and we're going to do it again.
Bravo descend and maintain 1,500 feet.
Down to 1,500 here. Bravo.
Descend and maintain 1,500 feet. Dare Tree Whiskey Bravo.
This is very, very interesting.
Dare Tree Whiskey Bravo, you are 8 miles east of Executive. Contact Executive Tower on 118.7 when inbound on the approach.
Okay, good. All right, so things are working fine. You see this green diamond's going up,
118.7 Dare Tree Whiskey Bravo.
which we want, because we're going to make a left turn, a big left U-turn, and then intercept that from underneath.
9 miles east inbound ILS runway 25 approach.
Generic 2 Delta, Tango runway when able.
Come on, tell us to...
Delta November Tree,
There you go.
4 Tree Whiskey Bravo Executive Tower. Cleared ILS runway at 25 approach. Altimeter 29.99 with com.
So, 29er, okay.
Cleared ILS runway.
So we're going to do exactly what we just did. If you recall, runway 25, remember we came in at 294? That worked great. So I'm turning left to 294.
Generic 2 Delta Tango, turn next.
And then I'm going to switch over to approach, just like we did a few minutes ago. This guy better not be cutting in front of me, that son of a bitch. Man, all this traffic. Here's one of the added complexities of approaching an airport in a major metropolitan area. It adds to the adventure for sure. Still below the glide slope.
Generic 2 Delta Tango,
Great.
turn next taxiway.
There's guys still landing. If this son of...
2 Delta Tango contact ground.
Okay,
on
good.
1.4.
So when you hear them to turn next taxiway, then you hear them right away afterwards say contact ground, that means they're off the taxi. I mean, that means they're off the runway and on the taxiway, which means I'm cleared. Here we go again. This should look really deja vu because we came in on Mary B last time, just exactly the same. This green line's going to start to turn. Got to make sure we have approach activated so that, just like last time, little baby right turn and then the left turn to intercept.
Generic 1 Foxtrot Lima, clear to land runway 7.
And just like last time, we're going to wait till this green diamond comes down. The first notch will do 1 notch of flaps, second notch will do the second notch of flaps, and what we'll do right now is landing gear.
Clear to land runway 7 generic 1 Foxtrot Lima.
There you go. You see how this green line is no longer over here. Now it's lined up. That's the course deviation indicator telling us that we're lined up. I can't see the runway yet, but that gives us valuable information. And you see the green diamond now coming down, almost to that first dot.
Geometry Whiskey Bravo, clear to land runway 25.
Good land, 25, dear Whiskey Bravo. Okay, there's the airport. There's that flashing green white light.
Whiskey Bravo.
And now we're almost to the second dot. There it is, second dot. Full flaps. Gear is down, 3 in the green confirmed. Don't think we ever did turn off our landing lights and all the excitement. That's good, one less thing to worry about. Remember, Gilfy, right? Gear, inertial separator. There, just intercepted the glide slope again. Happy, happy. Flaps, fuel, good, good. Landing lights, good. Yaw damper, deactivated, good. We actually have better visual. I don't know if what this is. Is this somebody on final in front of us? Please God. Airspeed's perfect, 85 knots. I didn't hear him say we were number 2 for landing, though. No, I don't know what that was. But it's not a problem for us, that much I can tell you. Everything is great. Again, you know, it's kind of fun doing it. Okay, now all that I need to hear is that this guy gets off the runway. Turn next taxiway. Now say contact ground. Please say contact ground. This guy right here, he's on final of this runway, I wonder. That could be awkward. Come on, tell it. Get off the runway, jackass. This guy right here is on final to MCO. See, he's going that way. Don't see anybody on the runway. Full flaps, 83 knots. Minimums are 480, we're at 660. I do have the runway in sight, however. What an interesting experience. Doing the go-round's kind of fun. You get to do 2 approaches and landings. There he is. 500 AGL, now at minimums. Autopilot's disengaged, I have the aircraft. I don't know if I ever heard him say that he was to contact ground and therefore clear the runway, but let's see if we get another go-around. Holy smokes. Next time, pick a smaller airport. Look at the freeway. That's cool. '82, '81, '82. Should have zoomed in on the freeway. That's my bad. Biloxi still looks good. No go-around order, although this airplane off to my upper left, I don't know if you can see it. I can't zoom in on it. What the hell's he doing? Okay. Here we go. Runway 25 confirmed. Beautiful sunset. 83 knots, 84 knots, and idle. Flare. Butter landing. Reverse thrusters now deactivated at 40 knots.
Geometry Whiskey Bravo, turn next taxiway.
Wow. Whoa! You guys got to give me more notice than that. Jesus. Did you guys see that? That just appeared there at the last second.
Geometry Whiskey Bravo, contact ground on ONE 21.4.
Contact ground. 20.4.
121.4 for Dr. Trey Whiskey Bravo.
Luckily, I was taxi parking. Luckily, I was already.
Executive ground Dr. November Tree 4 Trey Whiskey
I think it was under
Bravo,
40
taxi
knots.
parking.
Was able to just kind of mash those brakes.
Air November 34 Whiskey Bravo taxi to General Aviation parking using taxiway Charlie.
Flaps retracted. Taxi lights.
Taxiing to General
Pulse
Aviation
lights
parking
off.
via taxiway Charlie Dr. Trey Whiskey Bravo.
Use those feet. Anyway, I think I'll have to check it back on the replay, but I think we were under 40 knots when we got that stupid taxi ribbon order to brake to the right and mash these pedals pretty good, but it slowed down enough for us to handle the right turn. Wow, well, a further testament to the fact that this game, just be prepared for it to throw you curveballs. My very first missed approach. I can't believe it. And it was fantastic. It's actually a unique opportunity to do a literally side-by-side approach, you know, just 5 minutes later. And it was virtually similar in terms of its characteristics. In terms of when I turned, how high I was, when I deployed flaps, intercepting glide slopes, and so forth. That's cool. I'm always adjusting the sensitivity. That green-white light is the same one you saw when we were on final. Okay, where's Gary? I think I see him. There he is with his flashlights. Make a right turn. Getting used to these pedals, it really does take some practice, I'm not gonna lie. There he is. Come on, give me left or right. Right, okay. Still right? Okay. There it is. Well, folks, that was a first. My goodness. Okay. So, just in closing commentary, that light on. Really, is it? There's a light up here, but it's hard to see. Where is it? There we go. Depressurize. Fetal heat, inertial separator all off. Anyway, parting comments. Really interesting. Missed approaches can happen for lots of reasons. One that you commonly think about is not being within minimums, and that is you can't see the runway when you're required to be able to see the runway. And there's that guy. Look at this guy. He's coming in maybe on the exact same runway we just landed at. Let's see. Yep. No. Wait. No. Hold on. Now, this doesn't always show the planes that you can see with your own eyes. He sure looks like he's landing to me on the same exact runway we just landed on. Anyway, a missed approach can happen because of that. That is minimum problems. You can't see your runway when you're legally required to be able to see it. But also because of runway incursions or failure of an aircraft to exit the runway in a timely fashion. Obviously, you can't land on a runway if there's still an airplane on it. He's behind the trees now. And I believe, and I'll examine it on the replay, that we were told to go around because the airplane in front of us, remember how they told us we were behind number 2? for on the first approach, we were told that we were number 2, follow the aircraft on upwind. I think that plane didn't vacate the runway fast enough, and as a result, they told us to go around, which we did. I think it would have been bogus if I'd landed despite that order. In fact, we may have even been reprimanded in sim where they say you landed without permission. Anyway, that's it for now, and a lot of fun. A lot of fun. Wow, that was cool. Okay, Orlando local time, 7:31. Ciao.